Here's what's happening now. So nice to see the rain, but that is not the only thing we are dealing with. We'll look at how long this storm threat is going to linger. Paula?
We have really an incredible follow-up to a story we told you 2 months ago about a school district trying to raise money to send each and every child in the district to college. This is a good one, folks.
All right, thank you, Paula. Also, first at 4, a runaway teenager has a local school district taking safety precautions this afternoon. We'll tell you about the potential threat. And Kim Mathers back in court. We've got an update on Eminem's ex, her probation, drug tests, and what comes next.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, we are keeping our eyes on the skies because we've had some thunderstorm warnings in our viewing area. So let's get to Ben Bailey for the very latest.
Yeah, Karen, the last of those storm warnings canceled early, and even though we've still got rain out there and some lightning as well, nothing severe right now. In fact, a lot of these storms have weakened within the last 30 minutes. Biggest push of wet weather is now over Lake St. Clair, but still pretty wet here along the 94 stretch going out of Mount Clemens towards the city. Drying up a little bit in the Detroit area, and then we're seeing 75 from downriver to Toledo. Pretty much full of water as we're seeing those showers continue with lightning. Again, nothing severe. But we have had reports of some small hail, at least pea-sized hail in a couple spots. Most areas will be dry by 6 p.m. Could be an isolated storm lingering as late as 8. But everything is going to wrap up as we head towards sunset tonight. We'll show you how much more of the week is going to be storm-filled in a few minutes. Karen?
Well, summer is getting off to an unsettling start in the Lake Orion Public School District, where all the buildings are closed today. The district released a statement this morning saying they received information from law enforcement that a former student with a troubled history by the name of Nathan Griwi had run away and possibly took a pistol from home. Griwi's whereabouts are unknown at this time. No threats have been made to any of the students or staff. The closures are simply a precautionary measure, and of course we'll bring you updates as we get new information. The Pistons' move to downtown Detroit is the focus of a court battle, and a federal judge heard arguments today. A local activist is pushing to cut public funding to the project, saying Detroit residents should have been able to vote on that project. Attorneys for the city of Detroit argued cutting funding could kill that project. The judge is expected to issue a ruling later today or tomorrow. Rapper's Eminem ex-wife Kim Mathers was back in court today regarding her drunk driving crash from October of 2015. Mathers got drunk and crashed her SUV into a ditch and a utility pole in a suicide attempt. She was sentenced to 1 year probation and drug and alcohol testing. Today, Mathers asked if those tests could stop. Instead, the judge changed her drug testing to random screenings 8 times a month. Her probation continues through March of 2018. Mathers did speak to us about how she's doing, and we'll share her comments on Local 4 News at 6. A new week has brought 2 new terror attacks, one in London, the other in Paris. Let's start over in Paris, where a man rammed his car into police vehicles on the Champs-Élysées. Police say the man, who had weapons and explosives in the car, was on an extremist watch list. No police were injured. We turn to Kimberly Gill in the newsroom with more on both attacks. Kim.
Yeah, Karen, the overnight attack in London was different than other recent terror attacks. In this incident, the targets were Muslims who were leaving a mosque after a Ramadan prayer. A van veered onto a sidewalk just as a crowd gathered around an elderly man who had collapsed. That man later died, but 10 people were injured when they were hit by the speeding van. The 47-year-old man driving that van stopped the vehicle and tried to run away, but a crowd surrounded him, and an imam from that mosque intervened to stop them from attacking that driver. The suspect was taken into custody by police as he shouted out that he wanted to kill Muslims.
Me and another 2 friends, we get him out of the car. But before we get him out of the car, he started fighting with us and spitting on us, and he bites my thumb as well.
We treat this as a terrorist attack, and we in the Met are as shocked as anybody in this local community or across the country at what has happened.
Now, in the London terror attack, the suspect, a man from Wales, is in police custody. The man who drove his car into police cars in Paris was killed. Reports from Paris say that man was known to security services, but they did not have enough evidence to arrest him before today's attack. Now, all of France has been under a state of emergency since a deadly terror attack back in 2015 that left 130 people dead. The state of emergency is due to end next month, but efforts are underway to try to extend it until at least November. Karen, of course, will keep you posted on what happens with that. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kim. We are following other stories making news around the world. Let's stay in London for this moment for a moment of silence for victims of last week's high-rise fire. At this point, the number of victims is up to 79 people who've died or still missing, although that number could still go even higher. Fire ripped through the 24-story building last Wednesday. Investigators want to know how that fire spread so quickly, and they say there could be criminal charges if that's where the evidence leads. Also today, Britain starting to negotiate its exit from the European Union. The so-called Brexit is expected to be complicated and take about 2 years. While there is hope for positive negotiations, Britain's government remains divided on how to best move forward after a divisive election earlier this month. Here in the United States, we are watching a special election tomorrow in Georgia. Many analysts see the race between Democrat Jon Ossoff and Republican Karen Handel as a referendum on President Trump. The seat has traditionally been Republican, but Ossoff came out of nowhere to make the election very competitive. Early voting has been huge. We'll keep you posted on the results tomorrow. Every parent knows paying for a child's college education is really tough. Well, now a former Detroit Lion and others are stepping up to help one district start college funds for every student. It's a really encouraging follow-up to a story that we brought you first at 4, and Miss Paula Tutman is in Madison Heights with the story.
There is a real connection that can be seen. It is not only visible, but it is palpable in this school and this school district with this principal and this superintendent. But what he has pulled off has been made possible by this gentleman right here, who's an alum.
Is this second grade?
His name is Ken Delacour.
No.
And you probably know him better from, say, this image. Former offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. But well before that, he was just a kid in a small one elementary school district in Madison Heights.
When I grew up here, it was just what it was, as a blue-collar, hardworking, family-oriented community.
Today, he's the executive vice president and president of Health Plan Business for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. He's a hometown kid who's done well for himself, and he's never forgotten where he came from.
When you see kids like this, you want to make sure that they have opportunities abundant to them, and you also have to help the community in which they exist.
He didn't want for anything as a child, but he wasn't rich, and he can certainly see himself in the faces and the dreams of these children at his alma mater, Madison Elementary School.
What I saw was youth with energy, optimism, hope, and they need a place where they can fulfill those. And so those things are the things that move me when I see these young kids.
2 months ago, we did a story on this district and its work to raise $60,000 to start college investment funds for every single elementary school student in the district.
By us starting this college fund for every kid, we wanted to give them the ability to start to think, to help them to start to think about what life can be like after high school.
Ken and his wife Karen saw the story.
It's beautiful.
He and Karen have donated $50,000 of their own money to the Madison K2C College Fund.
He sees himself in these kids because he was one of the kids who came from our school district.
Those with much should be expected. I've been blessed in many ways. I was blessed in this community growing up here. I've had many good things happen to me, and I would think of that as an obligation of myself.
So, you know what, the $4 donation actually puts that bank account at $85,000, Karen. And here's the thing, now it's gone from being just an investment fund for the elementary school and it goes district-wide. Yes, they're still doing some fundraising, but they are this close to getting there. And Karen, you're the one who told me about this story. I know you have to feel good about what is going on in the Madison School District today.
Yeah, well, I was just touching base with Randy Speck for just story ideas, and he mentioned, I'm like, oh my goodness, we need to do a story on this. You're doing great things. So, you know what? You get an idea like that, you run it, and your first story was just wonderful, and I'm so glad that the folks saw it. And $50,000 donation is so generous. So we're going to keep following this one for sure. Thank you, Paula.
Absolutely, Karen. You bet.
Still ahead, first at 4. A lot of people love their chocolate, but would you ever think about snorting cocoa? We'll tell you about a trend that's coming to America. Also, Dr. Rick George is here.
Hey Karen, have you ever been mom shamed? Well, a new survey finds most moms have. Coming up, see who is most often to blame and how most moms react when criticism comes their way.
But up first, do convicted sex offenders have the right to be on Facebook, Twitter, or other sites where they might have access to your child? The United States Supreme Court just answered that question. We'll be right back.
The Verdict, coming up all new on Local 4 News at 5 and 6.
I'm Mara McDonald, a Detroit man just trying to pay for his gasoline when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's attacked, and it's caught all on this gas station surveillance video. Tonight, DPD needs your eyes. I'll see you at 5.
All right, thank you, Mara. The United States Supreme Court has struck down a law that bars convicted sex offenders from using Facebook, Twitter, and other popular sites. This was a North Carolina case where a convicted sex offender was arrested for a Facebook post dealing with a parking ticket. The state argued it was trying to keep offenders away from children who might be online. But the High Court ruled the law was too broad and it interfered with sex offenders' First Amendment rights. All right, let's talk good health. We often see celebrities being mom-shamed on social media, but plenty of ordinary moms are also feeling the heat these days. So Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with the results of a new poll that lots of people are talking about.
Well, yeah, Karen, you know, in fact, the majority of moms feel criticized from time to time, but say their biggest critics are most often their own family members.
Ooh. About 60% said that they had felt criticized for their parenting choices. And the most common sources of criticisms were people in their own family, their spouse, their own parents, or their in-laws.
Sarah Clark is co-director of the CS Mott National Poll on Children's Health. The most recent survey polled moms of children age 5 and under.
We found that the most frequently criticized topics were discipline, which is absolutely open to everybody's interpretation of what you're doing wrong. Nutrition and feeding choices were another big one.
Only 12% of moms felt criticized by other moms in public, and even fewer online.
About 8% of our moms said they had felt criticized by other people on social media, which is a little bit lower than we would have expected.
Team member Anna Kaufman's own experience as a mom helped inspire the poll.
When you have really young kids, that's a really special time in life, and it's a really hard time in life. And stress is high, and especially with newborns, there's just a lot going on. And you never know when a comment that you think might have been helpful can really be perceived as something hurtful to the mom.
Most moms responded to criticism by looking up information or asking their child's doctor. Others changed their own behavior.
A lot of moms who experienced criticism said, you know what, I'm not going to criticize any other moms. I'm going to check myself now.
Now, the poll didn't look at dad shaming specifically, but researchers say it's probable that dads likely hear a lot of unhelpful criticism as well.
I'm sure. It's a shame, and especially with social media, it's so easy to give that comment of, you know, oh, you're hugging your kid too much, or kissing on the lips, or whatever they, you know.
It goes all the range.
Right, it does cover a lot.
Everyone's got something to say.
Exactly. Sometimes it's best just to keep quiet. Thank you, Doc. All right, let's get back to Ben for another look at the weather, and things are a little up in the air right now.
Yeah, we still got some places that are wet, but it's a lot fewer than what we were dealing with earlier in the afternoon. Right now, some of the heaviest rain is in St. Clair County, but it's just right at the border, right there from St. Clair to Marine City. So that's going to be over into Ontario here very shortly. We did have another downpour that's weakened just a little bit out there west of Romeo, but nothing severe right now. Still could be seeing some intense rainfall and definitely some lightning with these storms, and that looks to be about it. But man, the rain has really cooled things down. We're at 68 right now at Metro. We got up to 80 degrees before those showers and thunderstorms rolled through. and we got a west wind right now at 13 miles an hour. So temperatures are generally pretty comfortable. Upper 60s, low 70s out there. One of the warm spots is at Lansing, and the west side of the state is already starting to clear out. You can see the sunshine starting to poke through out there towards Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo. So there's a chance we could see these numbers come back up a little bit before we start sinking towards our lows tonight. There is one more disturbance out here to the west, and you saw some of those thunderstorms out over the lake. Those should fall apart as they work their way across the state tonight. So as we get into about 8, 9 o'clock, most of us are going to be dry. The places that are still going to see some action are going to be pretty much the northern part of our north zone, closer to the thumb. So there could be some showers and storms lingering until about 11 o'clock or midnight before things completely dry out there. Once we get into tomorrow, pretty much a similar situation where we start out dry and then see at least showers. Not going to be a whole lot of instability for these to work with tomorrow afternoon. So I don't think that we'll see a whole lot in the way of thunder, but could get wet in the afternoon again as we get into Tuesday. So lows tonight dropping down to 58. No thunderstorms coming to an end for most of us, even before the sun sets. Let's look at those high temperatures tomorrow, which could be pretty similar to what we saw today. Remember, we did get up to 80 degrees, at least at Metro, so we're going to call it the upper 70s here for most of our Metro zone. I don't think that we're going to see a whole lot of difference between the zones here in our temperatures. Generally mid to upper 70s there in our south zone. West zone temperatures not a whole lot cooler. We'll call it 74, 75. And getting north of M59, we're looking at temperatures generally in the 70s, but maybe as cool as 69 for a high temperature up in Sandusky. So temperatures will range into the 80s again once we get to the second half of the week. Mid 80s there Thursday and Friday, and that'll take us into the weekend. We've got multiple chances of seeing wet weather through the next 7. So Karen, if you didn't get enough for the grass, we do have chances that'll last all the way through the upcoming weekend.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. Still ahead, kids and smartphones. One doctor, who's also a dad, wants to ban phone sales to certain children. We'll talk about his proposal coming up. Also, a teenager's cry for help during a run-in with a wild animal. The story behind a family tragedy on Father's Day. We are back with a story of a devastating bear attack in Anchorage, Alaska. A teenager taking part in an annual Father's Day race got separated from other runners in some really rugged terrain. At one point, he texted his mom saying he was being chased by a bear. Other runners and emergency crews scrambled to find him, but they were too late. He was mauled to death. A ranger shot that bear in the face, but the bear ran off. The entire community is stunned by this tragedy. In today's trending stories, a lot of people are talking about a new proposal to keep cell phones away from children. This is happening over in Colorado. A doctor who's also a dad wants to forbid the sale of smartphones to children younger than 13. He says they're spending too much time looking at the screens, and that has a negative impact on development. Businesses could face fines for selling phones to kids. The proposal, though, needs 300,000 signatures to get on the ballot for next year. Also, what do you think of this? It's snortable chocolate, and it's arriving in America. A company called Legal Lean is trying to take a European club drug mainstream. Snorting chocolate apparently started getting attention back 10 years ago in Europe. Well, now it's being marketed as Coco Loco. The raw cocoa is supposed to give you a boost of euphoria and energy. A small round container holds 10 servings and costs about $25.
I'd rather drink it than snort it.
Yeah, I have no interest in that. Nope. Or just a nice chocolate bar is always really good. All right, excited about this one. I'm going to introduce you to the newest member of our First at 4 family. I'm going to answer a question that keeps popping up on social media about his name and perhaps the connection to Ben Bailey. First, here's an exclusive look at the story that I'm working on for tonight's 11.
He's an Oakland University professor facing 7 different counts after underage kids, alcohol, drugs, and a gun are found inside his home. Now, he's speaking to the defenders.
When you get accused of anything, you don't know what's going to happen. I have all sorts of trust in the court system.
And here is response when we ask him about the cameras at his home and what was being recorded.
The exclusive interview with the university professor tonight at 11.